Hello and welcome to Chatcraft English. My name is Sophie, and today we're going to talk about something that every English learner struggles with at some point: motivation. Maybe you started learning English full of energy, practicing every day, watching videos, repeating phrases. But then life got busy. You missed a day, then a week, and suddenly English didn't feel exciting anymore. If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Staying motivated in learning English is one of the hardest challenges. But here's the good news. It's also something you can control. In this lesson, I'll share with you the secrets to staying motivated, even when you feel stuck, tired, or ready to give up. We'll talk about simple strategies, real-life tips, and powerful mindset shifts that will help you keep going, not just for a week, but for the long journey of becoming truly confident in English. So if you've ever asked yourself, how can I stay motivated to learn English? This video is for you. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll have a clear path to keep your motivation alive and make English a part of your daily life. There's a quiet strength that lives inside every human being. Most people never touch it because the noise of the world is so loud. Every day, you are surrounded by voices, friends telling you what you should do, family members telling you what you must become, society showing you endless pictures of success, beauty, and happiness. The internet shouts at you, advertisements whisper at you, and even your own thoughts sometimes scream so loud you can't hear anything else. But here is the truth. Your real power begins when you step away from the noise, when you stop looking at what everyone else is doing, when you stop asking for approval from people who don't even live your life. Your strength begins in silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is space. It is the space where you can hear yourself. It is the space where you can feel what is true for you. And in a world full of constant distraction, silence is a rare and powerful weapon. Think about it. Why do we care so much about what people think of us? Why do we dress a certain way, buy certain things, or even speak in a way that doesn't feel natural just to be accepted? It is because deep down we are afraid. Afraid of rejection. Afraid of being different. Afraid of being alone. But let me ask you this. How many of those people you try to impress actually care about you when the lights are off, when the doors are closed, when you are sitting alone with your thoughts? Very few. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves, just as you are busy thinking about yourself. So why waste your life living for the opinions of others? The moment you realize this truth, a new door opens. A door to freedom, a door to peace, a door to power. When you begin to focus only on yourself, your growth, your values, your dreams, something magical happens. You become lighter. You stop comparing. You stop chasing. You start living. And it is not easy. Let's be honest. Walking away from the crowd always feels uncomfortable. When you choose silence, people will question you. When you choose to focus on yourself, people will misunderstand you. They will call you selfish, arrogant, or even strange. But in reality, you are doing the bravest thing a person can do. You are choosing to live your life, not theirs. Think about the strongest people in history. Leaders, thinkers, inventors, artists. They all had one thing in common. they were not afraid of being alone. They were not afraid of silence. They were not afraid of walking their own path, even if no one else believed in them. Do you think these people became great because they spent all their time listening to the opinions of strangers? No. They became great because they turned inward, because they listened to their own inner voice. And that inner voice can only be heard in silence. Right now, ask yourself, what would my life look like if I stopped caring about other people's judgments? How much time and energy would I save if I stopped explaining myself to everyone? How much more peaceful would I feel if I only focused on my growth, my health, my goals, my joy? This is where your journey begins. Not with noise, not with applause, not with validation, but with silence. Silence is not about doing nothing. It is about doing the right things quietly, working when nobody is watching, improving when nobody claps, building yourself in private so that when you finally show up, the results speak louder than any words. That is true power. And here is the secret: the world cannot ignore true power. When you build yourself in silence, when you grow consistently without needing to show off, eventually people notice. They see the change in your energy, in your discipline, in your results. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove. The silence proves everything for you. So today, I invite you to take a step back, to begin this journey of silence and self-focus, to cut out some of the noise that has been stealing your energy. Maybe it means spending less time on social media. Maybe it means saying no to people who drain you. Maybe it simply means waking up 10 minutes earlier to sit quietly with yourself. Whatever it looks like for you, begin. Because once you taste the power of silence, you will never go back to noise. Once you experience the freedom of living for yourself, you will never again waste your life living for others. This is the beginning. The first step into a life of strength, clarity, and unstoppable focus. Now, let's go deeper into why staying motivated in learning English is not just about having energy or excitement, but about creating habits that last. Motivation is important, yes, but habits are what keep you moving, even on the days when you don't feel like studying. Think about it: successful people in any area, whether it's business, sports, or language learning, don't rely only on motivation. They build routines, and routines give them strength to continue even when the excitement is gone. When you first start learning English, everything feels new and exciting. Maybe you bought a new notebook, downloaded some apps, or promised yourself that this time you would really do it. In the beginning, motivation is strong. But after a few weeks, that excitement can fade. Life gets busy: work, or school takes your energy, and suddenly you realize you haven't studied English in days. This happens to almost every learner. The real question is, how do you keep going? How do you make English part of your daily life so that it doesn't feel like a heavy task? One of the best ways is to connect English with activities you already enjoy. For example, do you like watching movies? Instead of watching them in your native language, try watching them in English, maybe with subtitles. At first, it will feel difficult. You might not understand every word. But remember, learning is not about being perfect from the beginning. It's about making small improvements every time. Each time you listen, you'll recognize a few more words, a few more expressions. Slowly, your brain gets used to the rhythm and sounds of English. The same goes for music. If you love songs, listen in English. Don't worry if you don't catch every word. Just enjoy it, and then maybe look up the lyrics later. You'll notice that many phrases in songs are also phrases people use in real conversations. This way, your brain begins to connect language with emotion, and that makes it easier to remember. Another powerful technique is shadowing. This means listening to a short piece of English, maybe from a podcast, a video, or a movie, and then repeating it almost like you are copying the speaker. Try to copy not only the words, but also the tone, the speed, and the feeling. Shadowing helps you sound more natural, and it also trains your ear to pick up details in pronunciation. When you shadow regularly, your confidence in speaking grows faster than you expect. But even with these methods, you might still face days when you feel tired, lazy, or unmotivated. That's when habits and systems save you. Instead of waiting for motivation, create small, clear rules for yourself. For example, you can decide, I will listen to 10 minutes of English every day after breakfast. Or I will write 3 sentences in English before I go to sleep. These are small goals. They don't take much time, but they build consistency. And consistency is the secret to staying motivated long term. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You don't wake up every morning excited to brush your teeth. You do it because it's a habit, something automatic. Imagine if English practice became that natural for you. You wouldn't need to think too much. You wouldn't need to push yourself so hard. You would just do it every day automatically. And over time, these little moments add up to big results. I know some learners feel frustrated because they study for months and don't see quick progress. But here's the truth: progress in language learning is often invisible at first. You may not notice it every day, but it's happening. Each time you read, listen, or speak, your brain is building connections. And suddenly, one day, you realize you can understand a movie without subtitles, or you can have a conversation without translating in your head. That's when all those small habits show their power. Another important part of staying motivated is celebrating your small wins. Many learners wait for big milestones, like passing an exam or getting a job interview in English. But those can take months or years. If you only celebrate, then you'll lose energy along the way. Instead, notice the small victories. Did you understand a joke in English? Celebrate it. Did you speak to someone in English for the first time, even if it was just a few words? Celebrate it. Did you read an article or finish a podcast episode? That's progress. Recognize it and feel proud of it. Now let's talk about mindset. Some learners think my English is terrible or I will never be good. This kind of negative thinking destroys motivation. Instead, try to replace it with positive but realistic thoughts. Tell yourself, I am learning every day, or I'm better today than I was yesterday. These small changes in mindset make a huge difference in how motivated you feel. Because learning English is not about being perfect, it's about being better step by step. And don't compare yourself too much to other learners. Maybe you see someone on YouTube speaking fluently after only 1 year and you think, why can't I do that? But remember, everyone's journey is different. Maybe that person studied 5 hours a day. Maybe they lived in an English-speaking country. Your situation is unique. Focus on your own path, your own progress. Comparing only makes you lose energy. Instead, find inspiration. Watch learners who succeed and think, if they can do it, I can too. Use their success as motivation, not as pressure. That way you'll keep moving forward without feeling discouraged. At this point, you might be asking yourself, what if I lose motivation again? What if I start strong, but then stop? That's normal. Motivation always goes up and down. The key is not to depend on it, but to build a system. A system of habits, routines, and strategies that keep you moving even when you don't feel like it. So remember, this motivation is the spark, but habits are the engine. Let motivation start your journey, but let habits carry you to the finish line. Now, let's talk about something very important, the stories we tell ourselves. When you wake up in the morning and think about your English learning, what kind of story runs through your mind? Do you tell yourself, I'm so bad at this, I'll never improve? Or do you tell yourself, this is hard, but every day I'm getting a little better? The words you use in your mind shape your learning journey. If you believe you are failing, your brain will look for evidence to prove that belief. If you believe you are growing, your brain will notice the progress you make. This is why mindset matters. It's not just about motivation, it's about the way you frame your experience. Think of it like wearing glasses. If your glasses are dirty, everything looks blurry, even the most beautiful view. If your glasses are clean, you can see details clearly. Your mindset is like those glasses. A negative mindset makes everything seem harder. A positive mindset allows you to notice success. So, what kind of glasses are you wearing right now? Are they dirty with doubt or clean with confidence? Here's a simple exercise you can try. Every evening, write down one small win from your English practice that day. It could be, I understood a new word in a video, or I spoke one sentence without translating in my head. These small wins may look tiny, but over time they add up to something powerful. They remind your brain, I am making progress. And progress is the best fuel for motivation. Now let's talk about comparison. One of the biggest killers of motivation is comparing yourself to other learners. You see someone on YouTube speaking fluently, and you think, I'll never reach that level. But what you don't see is the hours, months, or even years that person spent practicing. You only see the result, not the process. Imagine you plant a seed. Your friend plants a seed too, but theirs grows faster because the soil is richer, or the weather is different. Does that mean your plant will never grow? Of course not. It just means your growth has a different timeline. English learning is the same. Everyone has their own path, their own speed. If you spend your energy comparing, you'll feel frustrated. If you focus on your own growth, you'll feel proud. Here's something I want you to remember. The person you should compare yourself to is the version of you from yesterday. Are you a little bit better than you were? If the answer is yes, then you're moving in the right direction. Another powerful way to stay motivated is to connect your English learning with your personal identity. Ask yourself, who do I want to become? Maybe you want to be someone who travels the world confidently. Maybe you want to be someone who connects with international colleagues. Maybe you want to be someone who enjoys movies and books in English without subtitles. When learning English is connected to who you want to be, it stops feeling like a task and starts feeling like a transformation. You're not just learning a language, you're building a new version of yourself. Let's take an example. Imagine two learners. One says, I need to study English because my boss told me to. The other says, I'm becoming an international professional who can communicate with anyone in English. Which one do you think will have stronger motivation? The second learner, of course. Because their goal is not outside of them, it's part of who they are becoming. So here's an exercise for you. Write a sentence that begins with, I am becoming, and finish it with your vision for yourself in English. For example, I am becoming a confident English speaker who can make friends all over the world. Say this to yourself every day. Let it shape the way you see your learning journey. Now, let's face another challenge: mistakes. Many learners lose motivation because they are afraid of making mistakes. But let me ask you, how did you learn to ride a bicycle? Did you get it perfect the first time? No, you probably fell maybe many times. Each fall was not a failure. It was feedback. It showed you what to adjust. Language learning works the same way. Mistakes are not proof that you're bad at English. They are proof that you're practicing. They are signs of growth. Each mistake shows you where to improve next. If you avoid mistakes, you avoid progress. Think about children learning to speak. They make mistakes all the time. But they don't feel embarrassed. They just keep talking until they get it right. And that's why children learn so quickly, because they don't let fear stop them. So the next time you make a mistake, smile and say to yourself, this is progress. That small shift in mindset will protect your motivation. Finally, let's talk about energy. Motivation doesn't live only in your mind, it also lives in your body. When you are tired, stressed, or distracted, it's much harder to stay motivated. That's why taking care of yourself physically is part of learning English. Get enough sleep. Move your body. Breathe deeply before studying. Even small actions like stretching for 2 minutes can refresh your energy. And when your body feels good, your brain can focus better. That focus turns into consistent practice. And consistency is the key that unlocks fluency. So to summarize, keep your mindset positive by noticing small wins. Stop comparing yourself to others and focus on your own growth. Connect English to your personal identity. Decide who you are becoming. Treat mistakes as progress, not failure. And take care of your energy so your mind is ready to learn. Do these things, and motivation will no longer feel like something you're always chasing. Instead, it will be something that naturally grows inside you day by day. Let's dive deeper into one of the most powerful ways to keep your motivation alive: creating an environment that supports your English learning. Many learners underestimate how much their surroundings, their habits, and even the people around them influence their motivation. But if you want to stay motivated in the long run, you can't rely on willpower alone. You need to design your environment so that it naturally pushes you toward success. Think of it this way. Imagine you want to eat healthier. If your kitchen is full of cookies, candy, and soda, it's going to be very hard to resist. But if your fridge is filled with fresh fruits, vegetables, and healthy snacks, you won't even have to think too much. You'll simply eat what's there. The same is true for English learning. If you surround yourself with English, it becomes almost automatic to practice every day. So, how can you do this? Start by looking at your daily life. Ask yourself, where can I add more English naturally? For example, instead of watching your favorite TV show in your native language, try watching it in English with subtitles. Instead of scrolling social media in your native language, follow English-speaking creators, teachers, or influencers who inspire you. If you love music, switch your playlist to English songs, and try reading the lyrics while listening. Every small choice you make adds up to a big result over time. Another powerful way to shape your environment is to reduce the obstacles that make learning difficult. Sometimes learners plan to study, but they face too many little barriers. The app is not open, the book is in another room, or they need to find the right video. These small steps may seem minor, but they create friction, and friction kills motivation. To fix this, make learning as easy as possible. Keep your English book on your desk ready to open. Set up your phone so that your English learning app is on the first screen. Prepare your notebook and pen the night before. By making the process smooth, you remove excuses and make it easier to start. Let's also talk about the role of people in your environment. The truth is, motivation is contagious. When you surround yourself with people who are also learning English or who support your learning journey, you feel encouraged. But if the people around you don't care about English, or worse, if they discourage you staying motivated, becomes much harder. That's why it's so important to find a community, even if it's online. Join a group of learners on social media, participate in English learning forums, or connect with study partners. Having others who share your goal gives you accountability and energy. You don't feel like you're on this journey alone. Now let's move to another crucial point celebrating progress. Many learners lose motivation because they focus too much on how far they still have to go, instead of appreciating how far they've already come. Think about it, if you've learned even 50 new words in the past month, that's amazing progress. If you've practiced speaking 3 times this week, you've improved more than you did before. By celebrating these wins, no matter how small, you create positive emotions around learning, and positive emotions fuel motivation. One effective way to celebrate progress is to track it. Keep a journal where you write down what you did each day, how many minutes you studied, what new words you learned, or what you listened to in English. When you look back after a week or a month, you'll see that you are moving forward step by step. This visible proof is powerful. It reminds you that your efforts matter even if you don't feel immediate results. But celebrating progress doesn't always mean writing things down. You can also reward yourself in fun ways. For example, if you complete 7 days of practice in a row, treat yourself to something small you enjoy, like a favorite snack or a relaxing activity. The key is to connect learning with a sense of accomplishment and joy, not with stress or obligation. Another mindset shift that helps is to focus on consistency, not perfection. Many learners think I must study for 1 hour every day, or it doesn't count. But this type of thinking often leads to failure because one missed day feels like a disaster. Instead, aim for consistency. Even 10 minutes of English a day is valuable if you keep doing it regularly. Remember, motivation is built by habits, not by single big efforts. Small, steady steps take you further than occasional giant leaps. Now, let's connect this idea to something deeper, your identity. Motivation becomes much stronger when learning English is not just something you do, but part of who you are. Instead of saying, I'm trying to learn English, start saying, I'm the type of person who practices English every day. This small change in language makes a big difference because you begin to see yourself as a consistent learner, not someone who struggles. When learning becomes part of your identity, you don't need to fight for motivation every day. It becomes natural, just like brushing your teeth or eating breakfast. Finally, let's address one common trap comparing yourself to others. Many learners feel discouraged because they see people on YouTube or social media who speak English fluently, and they think, I'll never be like that. But remember, those people are showing you the result, not the process. You don't see the years of mistakes, practice, and frustration they went through. Comparing yourself to them is not fair. The only comparison that matters is between your present self and your past self. If you are better today than you were yesterday, that's success. So, to summarize, design your environment to support English learning. Reduce friction. Surround yourself with positive people. Celebrate progress. Focus on consistency. Build your identity as a learner, and stop comparing yourself to others. When you do these things, motivation stops being something you chase and becomes something you live. Now let's bring everything together and think about how to build a long-lasting habit of learning English that feels natural, enjoyable, and motivating. The truth is, motivation often comes and goes. Some days you wake up full of energy and ready to study. Other days you feel tired or distracted, and English practice is the last thing on your mind. That's normal. Motivation is like the weather, sometimes sunny, sometimes rainy. We can't control it completely, but what we can do is build systems, routines, and mindsets that carry us forward, even when motivation feels low. One of the best ways to do this is to make English a part of your identity. Instead of thinking I have to study English today, you tell yourself I am an English speaker. I am someone who learns and uses English every day. This small shift changes everything. If English is just a task, you may avoid it when you're busy. But if English is part of who you are, you'll naturally want to keep it in your life. For example, imagine two learners. The first says, I'm trying to learn English because I need it for my job. The second says, I'm an English speaker. I'm always learning and improving. Which one do you think will practice more consistently? The second learner because they connect English with their identity. That's a powerful source of motivation. Another strategy is to celebrate small wins. Too many learners only focus on what they don't know yet. They say, my grammar is bad, my vocabulary is small, I make mistakes. This negative focus kills motivation. Instead, notice your progress. Did you understand a YouTube video without subtitles? Did you have a short conversation with a stranger in English? Did you remember a new phrase and use it correctly? These are big wins. Celebrate them. Write them down. Remind yourself how far you've come. Each step is proof that you're moving forward. You can even create a success journal for English. Every time you achieve something, no matter how small, write it in your journal. Over time, this record of progress will give you confidence and motivation to keep going. On days when you feel stuck, open your journal and see all the evidence of your improvement. Now let's talk about another important idea. Consistency beats intensity. Many learners make the mistake of studying a lot for 1 week, then stopping for a month. This all-or-nothing approach doesn't work. Language learning is like exercising. It's better to do a little every day than to do a lot once in a while. Even 10 to 15 minutes daily can be more powerful than 2 hours once a week. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't brush for 3 hours. Once a month, you brush every day, even for just 2 minutes. Why? Because it's consistent care. English is the same. A little practice each day builds long-term fluency. It becomes part of your lifestyle, not a heavy task. But what if you feel bored with routine? That's when variety helps. Mix your activities. One day, listen to an English podcast while walking. Another day, read a short story or article. Another day, write a journal entry in English. Another day, speak out loud to yourself or a language partner. This mix keeps things fresh and exciting. Motivation grows when learning feels alive and flexible. And don't forget the power of community. Learning alone is good, but learning with others is better. Join an online group, a speaking club, or even comment on YouTube channels like this one. Share your struggles and victories. Encourage others and let them encourage you. When you feel like quitting, a community can lift you up. When you succeed, they can celebrate with you. Humans are social creatures. We stay motivated when we feel connected. Another practical tip is to set clear goals with a purpose. Instead of vague goals like, I want to be fluent someday, create specific ones. For example, I want to have a 5-minute conversation with a foreign colleague without switching to my native language. Or, I want to watch one full TV show episode in English without subtitles. These goals are concrete and measurable. They give you direction and a sense of achievement when you reach them. But always remember, progress is not a straight line. Some weeks you will improve quickly, and other weeks you may feel stuck. That's normal. Think of learning English like climbing a mountain. Sometimes you go up quickly, sometimes slowly, sometimes you rest. But as long as you keep moving, you will reach the top. Don't let small setbacks destroy your motivation. They are part of the journey. Here's another idea to keep your motivation alive: connect English with your passions. If you love cooking, read English recipes or watch cooking shows in English. If you love sports, follow sports news in English. If you love music, learn the meaning of your favorite English songs. When English helps you enjoy what you already love, it stops being just study. It becomes a tool for happiness and exploration. Also, reward yourself for your efforts. After completing a week of daily practice, give yourself a small treat. Maybe watch a movie you've been waiting for, eat something special, or simply relax, knowing you've kept your promise to yourself. Rewards train your brain to enjoy learning. They build a positive connection with English. Finally, keep reminding yourself why you started. Maybe you want a better job to travel with confidence, or to connect with people from around the world. Maybe you want to understand books, movies, or lectures in English. Maybe you dream of studying abroad. Your why is your deepest motivation. When you feel tired, think of this purpose. Visualize yourself speaking English, confidently achieving your dream. That image will give you strength to continue. So, motivation is not something that magically appears. It's something you create through identity, small wins, consistency, variety, community goals, passion, rewards, and purpose. When you combine all these, you don't just study English, you live it. And when English becomes part of your life, progress is unstoppable.